house for a year, but he was evicted. Were there others who managed to win, managed to, against all odds, wrest their homes back from the clutches of the corporate predators?
Yeah, there was a lot of activism around the issue. Unfortunately, a lot of people funneled all that energy into thinking that if they did the right thing and applied to modification, really pushed through with a bank, that something would work out.
Well, it's a reasonable expectation, of course.
Right, especially because you have all of these. I mean, Sacramento Valley was covered with advertising campaigns, all of these, promotions saying, call for assistance. If you don't do anything, you'll lose your home. All you have to do is make that phone call and you'll save your home and your family will be safe. And of course, that was a lie.
Of course it was a lie.
Instances when people fought back and won.
I got to tell you, people, I'm watching this about the crooked banks and how they screwed people out of their mortgages and pulled all this modification bullshit while the taxpayers had to bail out the banks for their bad hedge fund investments. And the scumbag bankers that had all these predatory lending practices doubled down by the crooked government. And what kills me is they pit one against the other. The liberals, of course, go after the banks. The conservatives want to go after the crooked government. And the bottom line is they're the same. The one can't do what it does without the subsidization of the other. And the real disgusting thing is if you live in a high-tax state like New York, where they've claimed your equity 10 years in advance by taxing you for property in schools about 10 times the Eastern Seaboard average. So what would cost, $1,200 in Tennessee is $12,000 in New York. 10 effing times. What's the government not complicit in the destruction of home ownership? Because they decided to pay themselves like they're all brain surgeons in government? Paying state troopers here in New York more than lawyers make? You got to see these guys come out of the academy today and they go and move into a $500,000 house. They buy Land Rovers. They got RVs and boats. State troopers. They make more in 1 month than my buddies did when they got on the job in the early 80s in a year. And I'm not kidding. So when did we become a police state? I'll tell you when the government realized they didn't need American citizens anymore. When they realized that they could get chink slave labor for pennies on the dollar. But all you stupid Americans that go to Costco and Walmart and Home Dumpo, because you can't buy enough cheap Chinese communist slave shit. And all you brothers out there, the ones who love Michael. Yeah, Michael Jordan, man, he's the man. So I'm going to get me a pair of Jordan Airs. Yeah. So you got your $300 kicks on. Like as if you're going to try out for the Knicks. That's what the brothers do. They kill each other over these exorbitantly priced stupid sneakers to emulate Michael. Right? Made by slaves. How much do the brothers and how much does Michael really care about slavery? Well, there you go. They don't. And let's look at all the white guys. They're beautiful. They sit in the stands because they're giant fans. 90-some-odd% of the fat guys sitting in the stands. And they bitch about Colin Kaepernick. Or they want to tell you what patriots they are while they root for these degenerate ball players making hundreds of millions of dollars while they turn and give the finger to the fat white guys drinking their Spudweiser, sitting in Giant Stadium, or watching the Miami Dolphins or whoever, or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah. So, America, a pox on all of you. Your hypocrisy is only exceeded by your stupidity. You wouldn't know how to take a stand if they shoved a pole up your posterior anatomy. It's unbelievable. The hypocrisy. The crooked banks, only to be exceeded by our crooked government. So like my neighbor next door who's 80 years old. So he paid his house off about 7 years ago. Well, when he bought the house in the mid-'80s, he was paying $840 a month for a mortgage and taxes. By the time he paid the house off 28 years later, he's paying taxes of $890 a month. Does he own the house? No. And of course, his business, like other very small business in upstate New York, went down like Monica Lewinsky on the Titanic. And so what did he do? He took a reverse mortgage. So they could kick him out of his house in the next few years. It's just tragic. We don't have capitalism anymore. We got a nanny state, quasi-socialist government that wants to tell you to wear a seatbelt while they do binding arbitration and steal everything that's not nailed down. The crooked cops, the crooked teachers in New York. And if you people down south are somewhere hearing this and you think that I'm being radical because school teachers don't make much money, well, come to New York. Because in my little small town, none of them are under six figures. In Long Island, they had to pass a law that no teacher can exceed $28,000 a month in pension money. $28,000 a month. We had a cop from Old Westbury retire at 55 years old. 5 years ago. Chief of police, I think there's 15 cops in the town. You know what his retirement is? $713,000 his first year. Yeah, civil service. Thank you for your service. Don't you love that? Thank you for your service. Like Robert Mueller. When I listen to these lapdog, libtard Democrats, I want to tell you you were an honorable soldier. I love the liberals all of a sudden. They celebrate a guy like Mueller because he was in Vietnam. What parallel universe am I living in? These are the same liberals who used to spit on soldiers coming back from Vietnam. But once they turn and do the bidding of the left, they're venerated. They want to make Stalinistic and Leninistic statues to them. Robert Lying Mueller. Another guy whose greed and avarice, like Comey, is only exceeded by his ineptitude and stupidity. And where's the anger from all Americans against Robert Mueller, who on 9/11 had his thumb up his ass? And so did Mr. Potato Head Brennan and clap on, clap off, Clapper. All these unbelievably inept bureaucrat apparatchiks who were sitting on their duffs on 9/11 and cost how many thousands of Americans their lives. They should have been tried and hung for the abrogation of their responsibility that week. That week. But we waited 3 years to do it and cover-up investigation on 9/11 and just go look at the names of all the people who sat on that investigatory board. It's like a who's who in government lapdogs. One day, maybe people will wake up, but I don't think so. I think it's too late for this country. So with all the bickering and argument about Republicans and Republicrats, and, in the end, these scoundrels have their own party. The Ryans, the McConnells, all the scumbag Pelosi's, they're living it up. They're all worth $50 to $150 million. You got the right to give up your house. Put on your seatbelt, your condom and crash helmet, bend over and shut up. Put down your cell phone. Don't videotape their criminality. And just keep getting extorted. God bless America.